Welcome back, everyone. Jerry Pitts is with us today, Lima attorney. We're talking a little bit about a situation that's cropping up across the nation. We know it's going to be an issue in the schools and workplaces where the mandates have come down as far as vaccines and masks and that kind of thing. I got to think that courtrooms are already getting bogged down with this stuff, right?
Well, in a sense, yes, but no decisions are really being made.
Right.
What they're trying to do as much as possible is put it on the back deck, because there's no uniformity in any decisions.
There's no necessarily precedent for this kind of thing, right?
There is really nothing there that one could decide if this is the way to go or not the way to go. And my thoughts are, until the federal government decides legislatively to put in some uniform system, it's going to be litigation all over the place, but it's going to be almost moot litigations, because there's not going to be one decisive answer for everyone to deal with.
Because you said now you could have somebody that went to school, that a parent pulled a kid because they didn't want to get the vaccine, or somebody got fired from their job because they didn't want to get the vaccine. They could win a suit in Ohio, lose the same case in Indiana, because there's just nothing.
And if you're going from place to place, county to county, city to city, each of them have their own way that they're deciding how to handle that. Now, is that proper versus not proper, versus what happens if you're in the city and you go into the county? That all of these differences have to come and to make one uniform sense of law. And we have done it before.
Sure.
And I'm wondering, what is the greater issue here? People are saying, well, I don't trust the system. But if you're going from public employment to private employment, if you go to public employment, they say these are the requirements. Private, the only way you're going to get around such requirements is you say it's for religious reasons. Now, if you say it's for religious reasons, physical reasons, then you still can get around. But what if the employer who decides, I'm still going to have to let you go?
Sure. Now,
that creates even more legislation that has not been properly addressed. And until we get this uniformity, we're just blowing in the wind.
Do you see that there's going to be a trend of class action suits? If you're 75 police officers who lost their jobs because you wouldn't get a vaccine, are they all going to join up?
Well, most of them also, we have to understand there's going to be the unions versus the system.
There's another issue that comes into play.
Most of them are involved in some kind of a union. Now, what's going to happen with collective bargaining? If it's not a part of the contract, you're just going to try to implement it in now, and it's not time for that. That's what the NBA is going through, the NFL is going through, that these things are not in a part of collective bargaining. And we have just about contracted and even legislated ourselves beyond any reason. But in this particular case, we're going to need some legislation that is uniform, that addresses or try to address all these issues. We have to understand that 7,000 or more people get the virus every day, and 1,500 or more are dying. So we can't just sit here and keep waiting. We're going to have to do something.
Do you see, we have a bit of a stalemate in Congress where they don't get a lot done because they're always butting heads. Does it come down to the Supreme Court finally making the ruling on this? What's fair and what can be done?
The problem with that is, first of all, will the Supreme Court even take a case?
Yeah.
Maybe they don't want to.
That'd be a hot potato to take, wouldn't it?
Right. And then you got the local issues versus then you got the state issue, then you got the Court of Appeals issue. And each of them, it may come up with something entirely different. So what would happen is we still wouldn't have any uniformity unless we try to come up with some legislation that attempts to address this, even if it's under the health emergency clause.
Because otherwise it goes on for years and years in courtrooms, right?
Yeah.
You don't solve this quickly.
And I got a feeling with this virus, it's not going away.
Yeah.
And until we properly address it, considering the fact that only 1/4 of all Americans have both shots.
Yeah.
So we could end up passing it back and forth to the point that we're simply not getting anything done.
Lawmakers would save themselves a lot of headaches, I'm sure, down the road if they did that. So we'll see.
It would help us all.
It'll help us all. All right. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Doug White Medical News coming up next on Noon Edition.